Welcome back, North Florida wrestling fans. We have an amazing episode today with one of Florida's best, Ivan Lopouchanski. He is an FHSAA state champion. He is a Division I All-American, and he is a black belt in Judo and Jiu-Jitsu. Join us as we catch up with Ivan and see what he's doing now, some of the ups and downs in his career, that nasty foot sweep that he's known for, and a little bit about nutrition. So we're not going to keep you waiting any longer. Let's go ahead and get to the show. Ivan, welcome to the show, man.
Hello.
Man, so what do you do before we get into all your accolades, because they're very numerous? What are you up to nowadays?
Currently I got married, so I moved to Indiana. I live in Fishers, Indiana, which is a little bit it's a suburb of Indianapolis. I'm coaching at University of Indianapolis. It's a D2 school. Yeah, I'm happy over there. We're making progress. We had a couple of All Americans. We had two finalists. We're pretty good over there. Besides that, since getting out of the army, I'm using my GI Bill and going back to school. And I'm at Ivy Tech Community College, and I'm going to medical imaging program to become an X-ray tech.
Right on, man. Nice, good money in that. Get to X-ray all the people that you throw, huh?
The job's in demand. I hear good things about it, so going that route.
Medical field's always in demand. Man, so let's go ahead and get into the wrestling part of it. How did you come to Florida, and how did you get into wrestling? Because you know your accent isn't very southern. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. So my parents and I and my younger brother, we moved to Florida when I was like 9.5 years old. Then I did a little bit of jujitsu because there was like no judo around. Did a jujitsu at this one little place. I don't remember their name. Then I finally started doing judo in the U.S. at Hollywood YMCA. Did judo there for a couple of years. Then I went to Budokan Judo Club in Hialeah. It's a famous judo club. Has roots back to the long roots. A lot of famous people came out of that club. We had a couple of Olympians that came out of that club. Then wrestling. I didn't begin wrestling till high school because South Florida. Well, like I'm from Broward County, and Broward County does not have like middle school program, no elementary school program. So the only kids around wrestling are the ones that wrestle in high school. I mean, Miami-Dade, they got some middle school programs, they got some clubs, but back when I was growing up during my time, I don't know, it wasn't too popular. So I wrestled in high school. Wrestled at South Broward High School. Uh, Became a state champ in 2008. Prior to that, I was runner-up at Cardinal Gibbons, and then I was a third-time place finisher in my sophomore year. Freshman year, I did not qualify. I did not qualify for states my freshman year. I did not win the wrestle offs. I had to go up like two weight classes to wrestle off some guy. I had to beat him. So I was weighing like 145, wrestling 160. So, but then eventually towards the end of the year, everybody kind of like bumped down a weight class, and I got inserted into 145. I lost in at regionals in overtime. In overtime to go to states.
That
So I took
hurts.
fifth.
That hurts.
Yeah, it happens.
That's a learning process. Well, so speaking of a learning process, I had a question from somebody. So you came over
Mhm.
here from Russia when you were 9.
Mhm.
Did you already know English coming over here, or did you have to like learn it from scratch?
Uh, I knew a little bit whatever I studied in elementary school. So I went to a school, private school in Russia, and they were teaching us a little bit of English, but it was it was all like memorization, just memorizing words. As far as like communicating and talking to somebody, no, I had to learn from scratch.
Right. What was it? What do you remember from Russia as opposed to the States? Like, how was that transition moving over here?
Sure. So I began doing judo when I was in second grade. Um, so I don't know how it is for public schools. I'm sure it's the same as for private schools in Russia. So we don't really have. We'll put it this way: after school, you go to clubs, and the club that I went to was a big club for judo and my training schedule. So um, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, from let's say from 4 till 6, they would have a group of like 40 kids. Then from 6 to 8, same day, same days, they would have another group of 40 kids. Then different kids. Then from 8 to 10, they'll have another group, probably be like adults or the women's class. Then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, same thing, from 4 to 6, 40 group of kids, 30 to 40. Then so it's a club. Everybody shows up. It's a big environment. So it's a little different than the United States. United States is more like micro. Like yeah, you have like wrestling teams. They have like 30 kids, maybe 40 kids, but over there it's like it's more than just one school. It's the entire town, like the entire region is just like a bunch of schools that show up and train. So you get a lot of exposure, a lot of different fields, different bodies, and you stick with the same coaches pretty much. Um, but when I was little, I mean, like went to judo. Then besides judo, like like we would just go run around in the yard. Little court. We play soccer a lot. Just all that stuff.
Right.
I was young.
Yeah.
Then when I came to the United States, I put on a lot of weight. I ballooned up. Couldn't do a single pull up. It got bad.
It's that American food, dude.
Yeah, American food, mate. It gets you. It gets you. I went from being able to do like 10 pull-ups to being able to do none. So it happens.
170.
Yeah,
Well, so let's talk about the high school experience. You've had
sure.
you had a lot of ups and downs. Transferring from South Broward to Cardinal Gibbons, and
Hmm.
then back to South Broward. And
Hmm.
also, in my opinion, you should be a two-time state champion. Can you tell us about the some of the trials and tribulations that you went through? Getting to that state championship. Transferring schools, dealing with some unfortunate setbacks in the state
Hmm.
finals. Let us know about the story.
um, sure. Sure. High school. So when I was in South Broward, I guess my training schedule was um wrestling practice after school. We would wrestle from like 3 to 5 for 2 hours. Then after that, I would go to judo practice Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Judo practice will be from 7:30 till like 9:15, 9:30. It varies. So about an hour and a half. Um, uh, Other days, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'll just go for runs and all that stuff. Let's see. When I got to high school, I was on the heavy side. I was about 180. I was 180 in middle school, so I got to high school, started wrestling, lost a lot of weight. So I want to say I was down to like almost 140 my freshman year. So really took wrestling seriously because from what I was told, I did not know about this, but I was told that you could get a wrestling scholarship in college. So I was like, all right, well, can you get a wrestling scholarship in judo? Not really, but wrestling, yes, yes. So, and the reason why I began wrestling was to complement my judo. Judo, I was competing nationally. I had some success. I was a junior national champion back in the day. Multiple time placer at all these big tournaments uh, and all that stuff. Um, So yeah, just did that during the summer. Just kept on doing judo. wrestling every now and then. My sophomore year, I had a great year. Um, I took third at states. Then we had a very good team at South Broward, and then I guess he, I wish we could have kept the team and stayed at South Broward for my junior year and my senior year, um, but our a couple of the guys, including me, we transferred to Cardinal Gibbons. Because the Cardinal Gibbons was going to be a very good team. They were projecting to win states. Um, I guess an argument can be made: more opportunities present themselves at Cardinal Gibbons versus South Broward because it's a private school, um, so and so. Went there for a year. Commute was a little too hectic for me. It was like almost like a 1 hour one way, 1 hour back. Couldn't do judo anymore because of the commute. Uh, yeah, so after a year of Cardinal Gibbons, I mean, sure, it was a great school. I mean, great stuff, but it was just the commute. Commute got to me. I couldn't do it anymore, so I transferred back to South Broward and uh, graduated from South Broward. Became a state champ. Went to a couple national tournaments. I was fourth at Super 32s, and I think I got eighth at senior nationals.
Yeah, I do remember you
Yeah.
kind of going off your senior year. Like I remember, like my first
Hmm.
introduction to you was on the South Florida
Hmm.
Lightning team, coached
Hmm.
by Blasucci, and I remember you
Hmm.
going out there standing like almost straight up, like in a judo stance, and I was like, "What is this cat
Hmm.
doing?" And I think it was Scotty Sentes. I was like, "Oh yeah, he's like ranked like top 10 in judo in the country." And then sure enough, I think you went out there and like foot swept the dude straight to his back. So you definitely had a hot,
Yeah,
hot
yeah.
senior year. How did how did you've wrestled for two really good legendary coaches and Coach Alan Held and Coach Frank
Hmm.
Patino. What was it like learning under both of them in such a short amount of time?
Um, you know, I kind of got lucky with the coaches, and they didn't really. So with me, they didn't really force anything upon me. Like same thing in college. I kind of got fortunate with my college coaches too. They didn't really force anything upon me where it's like you have to do this. Like you have to shoot a high crotch. You have to shoot a double like this way. Yeah. No, they kind of let me develop on my own. They're like like they introduce some certain things, but in the grand scheme of things, they're just like try this, try that. Um, but nothing was forced upon me where it's like so micromanaged to the point where like I have to do this specifically this way. So that was kind of a blessing for me because like my brother, for example, he wrestled at Air Force Academy. Like what he told me was they really try to over micromanage all of his technique and stuff like that. So he was not having a great time. Um, when he wrestled. So, but anyways, that's what I picked up. Don't overcoach your kids. Let them let them have fun. Let them develop their own style because we're not all the same.
No, I definitely know that. Well, I mean, especially with you coming in with such a high level judo thing, I'm
Hmm.
sure there's a lot of things that they might not understand what you're trying to set up. So going back to that,
True.
then you said that you started wrestling to kind of complement your judo. How did they
Yes.
complement each other? Did your judo get better? Did your wrestling get better from your judo? How did that relationship work?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, overall, I became a more competitive person. Physically, I got stronger. I mean, like obviously, I lost a lot of weight. Uh, Well, back then you could, let's see, in judo you could grab the legs when I was in high school. So when I was at judo practice, I'll try some wrestling. When I would be at wrestling, I'll try some judo. Just fused it all together. I was just having fun, trying out different things. Um, yeah, I mean, wrestling helping judo. I mean, like, yeah, I became more. I just have more workouts because, like, back then I only did judo. Now you add on wrestling, you have two practices, so you're doing two a days. 2 days is better than one a day. So so that's what happened.
Well, who taught you that nasty foot sweep? Like when did you start really utilizing that? Because that's the thing that I definitely remembered is you
Mm.
hitting a lot of foot sweeps on people like left and right. Like when did you start really implementing that into your wrestling arsenal?
Uh, I guess I always did it. I mean, I learned it at judo, practiced it at judo. I mean, we did a lot of live goals in judo. I kept on doing it. I was the one to getting foot swept myself a bunch of times, and then wrestling. And I don't know what happened. I mean, like just like my freshman year, I wasn't having too much success. I mean, I was still beating up people. Like I was good on on JV level. And then I finally, I guess after a year, finally got some strength, matured. Because you can understand, some kids like when they get to their freshman year, they're not that mature. Then I finally started maturing, muscles began developing, and got enough strength to perfect the move. So foot sweeps. I mean, it's repetitions, trying out different things. The way I do my foot sweep, it's not. I do differently. Whenever opportunity presents itself, that's when I do it. I don't know. Honestly, to me, it just comes natural. Whenever the leg is there, like I move it, I set it up. It just like I don't really think about it. It's just like you don't think about it. You just do it.
Yeah, yeah. You just kind of.
It's like swoop single. Like yeah, you can break it down. Be like yeah, I do this. I step here. But when you have to shoot it, you just you do it like that quickly. You don't think about it. It's the same thing with a foot sweep. It's there. I'll sweep it.
Right on. I like it. I always love seeing you sweeping people. It's because like it's very
Oh, I appreciate it.
unexpected. You know what I mean? And then before you know it, you're
Mhm.
sitting there on your butt. Um, so let's talk about your medals. I know that you're three-time state placer. In my opinion, I
Mhm.
think you probably should have been a two-time state champion. For
Mhm.
those that don't know, Ivan got to the finals as a junior, and it came down
Mhm.
to a really uh, I'm not gonna go too into it, but it was a call that probably should have went Ivan's way, and didn't go that way. Ended up losing in I think like sudden victory, like it went all the overtimes, and you ended up coming out on
Mhm.
losing end of it. And I'm not big on blaming refs or blaming situations or anything like that, but I feel like that's one where you definitely got the bad end of the deal. How do you deal with something like that? How did you deal with that immediately afterwards? Feeling like you probably should have been the rightful state champion that year.
Um. So the guy that I wrestled was George Bancroft. George Bancroft was a very good wrestler.
Solid wrestler.
He's a three-time state champion. He should have gone for his fourth title, but
Though I will say, quick note with that, George Bancroft, I don't think he ever had a finals match that went off without like with it just being a straight match. There's always something
yeah,
around it. Like
yeah,
it was crazy. But continue.
yeah, yeah. So I've wrestled Bancroft at So Bancroft was supposed to be at Cardinal Gibbons when I transferred Cardinal Gibbons. So he was going to be one of the guys. We were going to have a solid team. We were going to have a great workout partners. Everything was going to be good. But Bancroft, he transferred to Jupiter Christian. It was a 1A school. So I wrestled him at regional finals. Regional finals. Um, he beat me. He beat me pretty good, and that's because I tried some things. I was more, what do you call it? More aggressive, overly aggressive. I tried certain things because I figured, you know what, I'm going to face him at states, possibly at states again. So let me try a couple of things, feel a couple of things out, and it backfired. I lost like I don't know 8-3 or something like that, 8-4. So he took me down a couple of times. I slipped a couple of times. Then in the states, I kind of made some adjustments, kept it close. Let's see. I think second period was my choice. I went down. I escaped. Third period, he went down. He escaped. Overtime, we're in our feet. Nothing happens. Then the rules are whoever scored the first takedown, whoever scored the first point gets a choice. And I got the choice to go down. Uh, and he rolled me out for 30 seconds. Uh, so so you won the match. So the controversy is cautions. So it's either I don't remember what happened. I think he either has three cautions or he has two cautions, and I have one caution. It was something like that, something along those lines. But I mean, he beat me. Like, it all comes down to me. I should have been able to escape it. 30 seconds to get up. I mean, I couldn't do it. So, it's all right. Kudos to him. Again, Bancroft is a very good wrestler. He's a 3-time state champion. Possibly could have been 4-time state champion, but they did not let him wrestle his senior year. Well,
Well, I like the way that you, and I mentioned that not to like put around the controversy,
mhm,
but I love your mindset about that. It's like, even with that, you're like, well, I
mhm.
should have been able to get away. Like I shouldn't, because who
Yeah,
really wants to win on a caution anyway?
exactly.
So I love that mindset of, I'm sure it was heartbreaking, but then again, I love the mindset of like, all right, well, I should have got up. I had 30
Mhm.
seconds to get away, and that falls on you. The ref didn't hold you down. So I really wanted to get into that because I want
Yeah.
some of my wrestlers to hear about that, because I hear all the time from some of my wrestlers that are like, oh, the ref screwed me, or the ref screwed me. It's like, well, you should have been ahead.
Oh yeah.
You should have had more points. One call
Yep.
doesn't make a whole match. All right, so fast forward, just finishing second, probably
Mhm.
very heartbreaking. Transfer back to South Broward. How did your senior year go? What was the big change that finally got you that state championship?
Senior year, well, I went back to my roots. I, double dipped. I wrestled. I went to judo. I was having fun. We had some good guys at our judo club. We had a couple of, I think at that time we had a couple of people from Chile. The guy was training for Olympics. He was about my weight class. We had some scuffles here and there, but at the end, he was a good workout partner. I'm sure I was a good workout partner for him. I was again a body about his weight class. He was 66 kilos, so so yeah, that we kind of like build up off each other. Let's see, yeah, and then again, I mean, you gotta understand, senior year, I'm working out, I'm maturing, I'm getting physically better, stronger, and you know, just kept on doing what I was doing. Went to a couple of national tournaments, did very well. Traveled with the South Florida national team. I think I was undefeated at some dual meets. Forgot which one. I think it was in Delaware or something like that. I went 5-0 that day.
Yeah, I don't think I
Uh,
made that Delaware trip. I was with you in Maryland. I don't
uh,
remember you losing or maybe you went like 5-1 in Maryland or
I
something like that.
I think either New Jersey or something like that. I don't know. I was under the weather. I wasn't feeling too good. I was like weighing 152, wrestling 160. I don't know. I did not have a good trip over there. Well, even my matches were kind of close. I don't know. I don't know. It happens. It happens.
Dude,
Should have prepared better, but
yeah, I just remember us. I think you were on the team the senior year, South Florida Lightning, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, dude.
Yep,
I remember us losing a PA premium on criteria. You remember that?
yep,
Dude, I
yep.
was so disappointed. I was pretty upset with that one. That
Yeah, it
happens.
happens.
So you finally win a state championship, and you're going.
Mhm.
You transition to college. How was that transition?
So I went to University of North Carolina at Greensboro. It was D1 school. I had some great time over there. Great experience. Great coaches. Wrestled there for 3 years. Uh, so the guys around my weight class, we were all kind of even. Even the two seniors. I mean, they were a little bit better than me, but I quickly caught up. When we had the wrestle offs, I won the wrestle offs, but then got kicked off the team. It was terrible. I'll tell you the story. So one of the guys found student ID, and he went to the school store, and that student ID has some money on it. So he purchased some stuff. I happened to be with him. Like three other people happened to be with him, and we all got into a lot of trouble because he purchased some stuff. We happened to be there, and they try to give us felonies and all that stuff. And whenever something like it was ridiculous. I had to get a lawyer, had to get a drop down to misdemeanor, but it was bad.
Yeah, don't worry. I got one of them stories too.
Yeah. So whenever you see a student ID on the ground, I don't know.
Don't
I
buy
look away. I'm
don't
like, I'm
buy
not. I'm
stuff.
not touching. I'm not touching it. So yeah. Then what happened? Yeah, and then they finally let us back on the team after like missing a couple of months. So when the spring semester rolled around, we were allowed to be back on the team. Just wrestled. So I didn't have a car, so I walked everywhere. I mean, I walked, I ran. I feel like that was just like part of additional training. So I just walked, ran, lifted weights on my own. Summer came around. Uh, Actually, I had a good redshirt freshman year. I was like 25-5, something like that. So or like open tournaments and stuff like that. Maybe like 20 and 5. Some I had a very good record. We went to all these open tournaments. Went to Ashland Open, or went to Wolfpack Open, Hokie Open, all these bunch of tournaments, and I did pretty well. Like my first tournament, I took third. And back then we did not have this like right now they have this like freshman and sophomore division. During my time, they did not have this freshman. It's like one division, just one division. So it's like one division, seniors, juniors, freshmen, sophomore. It doesn't matter. Everybody's in the same division. Right now, it's being separated, which is I don't know, good and bad, I guess. Uh, well, it was bad because if you lost your first match, you were done. You were done. So that because the bracket was so big,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
lost your first match, you were done. And then if you look at the bracket, like I think I counted like 7 matches. I had like 7 matches in one day. Right now, you can't do that. You can only have 5 matches total. So, anyways, summer. I try to stay at school for the summer, like college around college, and I don't know. I feel like I was getting burnt out because the guys like they just had wrestle, they lift, they just hang out and all that stuff. I don't know. I wasn't having too much fun, so I went back home. Went back home, kept on doing judo. Um, let's see, went to American Top Team, the one at Coconut Creek, wrestled there with their wrestling team. Well, not a wrestling team; it's like a wrestling class. Mondays they have a like all their like their fighters. They have a wrestling practice.
Didn't
I had fun.
didn't Patrick Spano train over there?
A lot of people either go through there or train there. So I possibly,
Probably, yeah.
possibly. Like the way I got in there was my high school coach, James Patrick Reese. He was my high school coach at South Broward. I guess my senior year. He uh, he was trying to be MMA fighter. So he was a professional wrestler. He's retired now. He had a professional. He was a professional fighter. So he kind of got me in there for the wrestling classes. I did some wrestling over there. It was unique because like a lot of guys they're barefooted, so they don't wear wrestling shoes. So have you ever wrestled somebody that don't wear wrestling shoes? You can't really like shooting a low single, sweep single. Yeah, you're on the leg, but then they just like slip out of it. So it was a unique experience. I enjoyed it. I kept on wrestling there all of my summers, or even whenever I get a chance. Um, yeah, that's what I did. I wrestled high school, wrestled over there, did judo, and that was my summer. And then I didn't party, I didn't drink, none of that stuff. So it was pretty much like my preseason. So when I got to college again, like the season started, I was ready. I was very ready. So I would start off strong, but then towards the end, I don't know, I would fade away a little. I felt like I don't know, maybe it was the diet or something like that because I was eating poorly, uh, eating very poorly. I'll be eating. Uh, yes, not a good diet. But then, yeah, yeah. So there you go. That's my that's my preseason thing.
All right. So you're at UNC, Greensboro, and
Mhm.
you're having some pretty good success getting to the
Right.
NCAA's, having trouble kind of breaking into that All American status, and then UNC Greensboro drops the program. How did that
Mhm.
affect you and your teammates? How did they break the news to you, and how did you guys respond to that?
Right. So they dropped the program my sophomore year. Um, so that year we got maybe a year before that. I think it was my freshman year. Not the redshirt for yeah, my second year that I was there. We got a new athletic director. She was from, I believe, she was from Florida State, and she had a lot of she had this great vision that UNC-Greensboro was going to have a football team. They were going to merge with the Greensboro College. They were going to become this big thing, big college. She was all about winning. So she brought a lot of hope to the athletic department, and working on some projects. They were renovating locker rooms, this and that. And I guess her plan was for the basketball team to become like the next powerhouse basketball team. But it's kind of hard to do it at Greensboro because I mean you're surrounded by ACC schools, so to recruit the top talent, you're competing against other big schools. They're very competitive schools. So the year that we got dropped, it was so we go on spring break. Well, the people, some people on the team, they went on spring break. Those that qualify for nationals, they stayed during the spring break. And then once the spring break is over, the week after the spring break is over, that's when the nationals happen. All schools go at different times during the spring breaks and all that stuff. So, anyways, Monday everybody comes back from their spring break, and first practice. Before we have practice, we get this notification. Our coach tells us, "Hey, everybody, we got to go upstairs for a meeting." So we're like, all right, cool. Like, don't put your wrestling shoes on. Just keep your running shoes on. We go upstairs for the meeting. So we go upstairs. Athletic director's there. Coaches are there, and she just says, like, well, there's no easy way for me to say this, but we are going to drop the program. And we were just like, what is going on? What is happening? She's like, well, just stay positive because you have a chance to go to nationals and get picked up by somebody else. And we're like, well, what about the people that didn't wrestle? What about the people that redshirted this year? How are they going to do it? Like, not everybody can go to nationals. Even those that qualified, let's say those that qualified can go to nationals, but what about the other guys that did not qualify? You know, you still gotta pay your own way to go up there. It was in Philadelphia, so that was a little
Wait, you had to pay your
disappointing.
own way to nationals?
Well, I mean, the people that qualified, they were good, but it's like they just like put it this way. Let's say you're a redshirt freshman, right? You did not wrestle, like you only wrestled some redshirt tournaments or like some open tournaments. Like, what are you gonna do? You didn't qualify for nationals. Like, how are you gonna go to nationals? How are you gonna
Okay.
talk to the other coaches? This is what she meant. She's like, well, you can go to nationals, and like,
Yeah, I
well,
see what
how
you're saying.
exactly are you gonna do that? So, anyways, and then the brackets came out, and our team, our qualifiers, that we got buried. Like, I got the number one draw, so I got Darian Caldwell. He was number one seed. That was my first match. Um, some other guy, I forgot. He got like number two seeds. Like, we are like all of us were facing ranked opponents our first match. It was like, all right, more bad news for us. Yeah, but for me, I was fine. I had a very good record. I was gonna get picked up by some school, no matter what, on a decent scholarship, and then at NCAA's, I had a good run. I made it to the blood round. Lost to Oklahoma State guy, Jamal Parks, good wrestler. Uh, but that one kind of stung a little bit. Yeah, it's on me, but man, so here's what happened. It was like what really pissed me off. I'm winning the match by 1 point. I'm riding him out. I rode him out for like period and a half. Like he was going nowhere. I was doing a good job riding him out. I'm winning. It's there. Referee decides to stop the match with 13 seconds to go. resets us, and he does like some grand roll or something like that, and then they call me for locking hands, and then the match becomes like a tie. It's like 6-6 or 7-7, something like that. And we go into overtime, and I'm just like, what the hell is going on? Why am I in the overtime? Like, how did this whole thing just happen? Then I kind of lost my composure, and then he got on the leg and he finished it. Yeah, but they put us on the mat, a corner mat, where it's like the entire section from like first floor all the way to like to the ceiling was nothing but Oklahoma State fans. So I feel like they had a little bit of an impact on the on the referee and the referee decision making. And you know, it really matters. It matters a little bit what singlet you wear at nationals. All right, because and I'll tell you why. Because you know there's like team races going on, team points. So they're gonna try to make team races a little bit closer than what they really are. So so there's gonna be some little controversial calls here and there that go up against the other guy. But anyways, yeah. So I lost in the blood round. It stung, but it's all right. I got picked up by. I was recruited by a bunch of schools, and I eventually went to Purdue University. So
Well, so what was the difference from UNC Greensboro to Purdue? Do you feel there was just a different in levels? Do you think it was the what finally got you to that All American status?
yeah, there was a big difference. There was a big difference. So weightlifting was it was very weightlifting was taken very seriously at Purdue. So our preseason, like we would not even get on the mat. Our preseason would just be strength training and conditioning. Our preseason we would be dealing primarily with the strength training coach. We would see him daily. We would see him 5 to 7 days. I mean, I'm sorry, 5 to 6 days a week. We'd be doing all sorts of stuff. Uh, like yeah, we would get on the mat. We would do some one on ones with the coach, with some workout partners and all that stuff. But primarily, it was very uh like physically, like we were much better prepared than at UNCG. At UNCG, we did some weightlifting, but we were mostly wrestling. We kind of mixed it up, wrestle and strength training. At Purdue was conditioning, very heavily oriented. As far as the quality of guys, yeah, Purdue had better quality wrestlers. They were more, I guess, they were more dedicated, more focused. Um, like at UNCG, we had no All Americans in the wrestling room. At Purdue, we had one returning All American, Cash Karoga. He was very strong. He All American at 125. Then once I got there, he was a 133 pounder. Very strong wrestler. All the guys I had good workout partners. They were very strong. Um, they were more focused, so there was not too much partying going on. They were more focused for wrestling. I mean, if there was some sort of partying, like we had to sign contracts where we said like, yeah, we're not going to drink, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that. So they were more focused on wrestling. They wanted to win. It's a competitive Big Ten environment. You compete against other Big Ten schools, so you got to be more focused. Whereas SoCon conference, it's like we're competitive, but again we're in a SoCon. Southern Conference is a little different. I mean, sure, right now it changed a little bit. Southern Conference is more competitive than what it used to be. Right now, Campbell, where Scotty Sanders is at, they're doing a very good job. They're very competitive. I mean, Appalachian State, they're very good. Chattanooga, they're always been solid. So right now they're very good. But back then it was just like, it's all right. Um, what else? I mean, coaches, they were. I mean, they were on top of you, man. UNCG, like, we only had one head coach and one kind of like a assistant. Maybe he was a volunteer. I'm not sure. So let's say we had two coaches at UNCG. At Purdue, we had a lot of people. We had a lot of coaches because like The thing is, you have a head coach, two assistant coaches, and then you have like a club coach. And with the club coaches, they're like it's a volunteer assistant, and some alumni, some grads, and so you get a chance to wrestle with them. So you get a more exposure, better exposure uh, to better quality wrestlers. Put it this way. At UNCG, you were kind of like confined. You were confined to this little circle of wrestlers that you can wrestle. At Purdue, there was more variety. Put it this way. So, and let's see, our locker rooms were nice. Our weight room was nice. We're treated nicer. We had a lot of gear. Um, so yeah, I mean, it was I felt a little spoiled at Purdue. Like going from UNCG to Purdue, I was like, wow, yeah, felt like royalty. But then, I mean, honestly, we went to Duumut at Nebraska. Man, their wrestling room was huge. I think it was like four mats. They had four full mats, and then they had their locker rooms. Man, it was crazy. So there's layers to this. There's layers to funding of the programs. So,
Yeah, I know. I'd love to see the Penn
anyways.
State room. Go in there and tour that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, so can you tell us about the run to finally getting that All American status? How did that tournament go for you?
Run. Well, tournament. I mean, started off the tournament. It started off kind of slow. Like I beat the guy from I think it was Bloomington. I barely beat him. It was a close match. And then my next match, I wrestled Sakaguchi from Oregon State. I beat him before at nationals, but then he had this he had this strategy of like to like not really engage, not really wrestle, and then try to win on the ride out and something like that. And that's pretty much what happened. He got a takedown because we kind of went out of bounds. I thought we were out of bounds. We were literally out of bounds, even with the physical out of boundary lines. And then that's going back to basics. Always wrestle, never stop. Always wrestle, never stop. And lesson learned. Except it was a little too late. But anyways, I got upset over there. I feel like I got upset because I could have beat him, should have beat him. And then in the wrestlebacks, I wrestled. I don't remember. I think I wrestled the guy from Wyoming. Barely beat him. Close match. You gotta understand, nationals, man. Sure. You're gonna see some guys that are just like killing it, but a lot of times you're gonna have a lot of tough matches because at nationals, everybody's good. Everybody's good at nationals, man. Everybody's strong. I mean, there's a reason why they're at nationals. You have to be somewhat strong. You have to be somewhat some sort of talent to be at nationals. So I had close matches. I had a who else did I wrestle? I wrestled the guy from Edinburgh. Man, I don't remember his name, but he was a finalist like the following year or year after. Yeah, I think next year he was a finalist from Edinburgh 149. I don't remember his name. He competed internationally from I think Slovakia. He almost qualified for the Olympics. Yeah,
So solid
he was a
dude.
good wrestler.
Yeah, solid wrestler.
I don't remember his name. Anyways, and then I wrestled Air Force guy Van Allen. Van Allen kicked my ass a couple of times, but Van Allen very good wrestler. He had a good record, but I caught him. I caught him with a foot sweep. He tried to do arms. So he tried to do he tried to do arm spin on me, and thanks to judo, I was not phased by that. And I was like, he wasn't going to arm spin. He wasn't going to go anywhere with this. So he tried to do arm spin. And as he was getting out of the arm spin, I caught him with a foot sweep and I got a takedown on him. And then after that, I'm up 2-0, period ends. Like, essentially I'm up 2-0. I mean, from there, it's like I know he's not going to turn me. Although he was very good on top, I'm like, he's not going to turn me. I'm not going to turn him. So I'm up about 2-0. He's not going to take me down. So I felt confident. And then somehow I managed to get some back points on him too. Anyways, we finished the match. I mean, like, yeah, it became an All American. It's like, yeah, hoorah! But it's like, winning states. Like, yeah, you're excited for a little bit, but then
You move on.
it was fun, exciting little accomplishment. But then it's like, well, that's cool and all, but then after the blood round, you win your blood round, you got to wrestle again, like 30, 40 minutes later, and wrestled Ness, Dylan Ness, I believe was his name. I think he beat me like three times, and that was number three. Just lengthy guy, strong, lengthy guy. He just, couldn't get over that hump. Couldn't get over that hump. The thing is, like Dylan Ness, man, his thing was the way he took me down was he would literally headbutt me. I get stunned, and then he'd shoot on my leg, and that happened a couple of times. I was not too happy about that. So I felt like that was a little dirty. But I mean, again, he was a good wrestler. I mean, no complaints. Very good on top, very solid. But I just saw that little headbutt. I'm a little ticked off about that. Shouldn't be doing that. Uh, anyways, and then after that match, I was done. And then next day I had to wrestle Borchetta from Virginia Tech. Borchetta became a four-time All-American from Virginia Tech. So I beat him by a point. So, anyways, and that was my last match that I wrestled collegiately.
That's not a bad end.
Uh, but as far as like training and preparation and all that stuff, I mean, listen, I went back to my roots. I kept on doing judo. As a matter of fact, when I got to Purdue University, they because the thing is about big universities, you have a lot more a lot more resources. So they had a judo club on campus. They had a bunch of international kids that will play soccer a lot. So that's what I did. I just, instead of like what I do after practice, like, I did my homework, and then after that, I would go, play soccer and do judo. Why not? Friday nights were like big nights, man. At Purdue University, Friday nights, indoor soccer. Oh my God, man. We would be there for like, man, let's, from like 7 to like midnight, man. We'd be there all night playing soccer. So it was fun times. Good memories. Good memories. So, yeah, I mean, that's it. That was my preparation.
Okay, it seemed to
Positive mindset.
it seemed to work. So just a couple more questions before we let you go, man. So I
Sure.
remember earlier in the podcast you're talking about how your diet was not very good at all, and that's something that
Right.
I, especially in recent years, try to talk to my kids a lot. I'm like, you can be
Mhm.
putting all the work in you want, but if you're feeding yourself garbage, then that's what you're going to get out most of the time, or you're not going to get out a lot of what you're expecting. Like I know for me, when I was wrestling in college, I was having so much trouble making weight, and I
Mhm.
switched to a vegetarian diet. And then, even after I transitioned away from wrestling, it just kind of stuck. And for me, I know that I always, felt like I had more energy. It was easier for me just to jump into things. How big did diet play into your career and afterwards?
Well, I feel like diet was my downfall. Could have because like when I was living in college, man, I would eat not so good. I'd probably eat like canned soups all the time, Subways, and like right now I'm a vegan, but back then, man, my mindset was like, if whatever I'm eating does not have meat in it, I would not even consider it as a meal. Like, back then, like right now I'm eating lots of fruits and vegetables, but back then it's like, frozen TV dinner, that should get me through. Yeah, but man, that was my downfall. That was my biggest downfall. I wish I would have ate smarter. But whatever. Live and learn, I guess. But right now, yeah, right now I'm a vegan. My wife and I were both vegans. She became a vegan first. I followed a little bit after. I've been a vegan for a couple of years now. I want to say, man, since like maybe 2017, 2016. I think 2017. I've been a vegan since then. Yeah, like you said, I feel like more energized. I sleep better. Cutting weight is like so much easier because weight just like falls off of you. Yeah, and definitely. Well, an argument could be made like, oh, you're gonna lose some muscle mass, you're gonna get weaker and all that stuff. I don't know. I don't know about that.
It's just a weird thing. But I mean, even so, go ahead and we give people that argument of like, okay,
Hmm.
you're gonna, but especially if you're in a sport where you're cutting weight, if you're
Hmm.
feeding yourself trash and then you're having to cut that weight, you're gonna lose that
Hmm.
muscle anyway, or you're gonna fatigue yourself trying to cut
Yep.
your weight instead of just maintaining a good, healthy level and then cutting that extra little pounds. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep.
I've
Yep.
heard all sorts of arguments on that one, which is weird because I never try to like engage people with it. I'm just like, oh yeah, I eat really healthy. I'm a vegetarian, eat fish sometimes, but
Yep. Yep.
and then it's like, well, you need meat to get stronger. I'm like, no, not really. But well, yeah, so that's a big thing with me that I try to impart to all my wrestlers, like, make sure you're cleaning up your diet. Don't just be going to,
Yep.
because like you said, there's a lot of kids that think that, they'll go and they'll wrestle and they'll put in all this hard work and then go eat Burger King afterwards or McDonald's afterwards. And I'm not saying don't like, splurge every now and then or like enjoy a burger or whatever. But if that's like you were saying, if that's your diet, then that's what you're going to get. If you're eating burgers all the time or eating tacos all the time, eating whatever, you're going to
Hmm.
feel sluggish. You're not going to get 100%. You'll never see yourself at like, your top tier, physical abilities. So that's a big important part for me is nutrition. Other thing
Yep.
I wanted to ask you, being such a accomplished NCAA wrestler, and with the new rule changes, what are your opinions on the rule changes? Do you think they're necessary? Do you think it'll make it more exciting? I know they just passed the three, so we're going to be saying three from now on. What do you think it's going to have effect on the sport in college?
Well, I think it's gonna make it more fun. It's gonna emphasize on takedowns being more valuable. Uh, I guess there's not gonna be a lot of there's gonna be a lot less close matches because back then it's like you get a takedown, then the other guy gets a reversal, then it's like all right, it's a tight match. But so there's gonna be more value to the takedown. So I think that's good. Well, as far as 3 points, man, here's what's gonna happen. Like, look, you see, it's gonna be this. People are gonna get triggered by this. Like, like, oh, look, he's throwing up the white power sign, this and that. Let me tell you, something. Like, I was at nationals last year, and the Nebraska Kearney finalist, 165 pounder, very good wrestler, very good wrestler. So like, he would tilt everybody. He gets on top, and he just tilts everybody up. And so, so people in the stands from his school, they'll be every time he gets a tilt, they'll start doing like the swiping with the hand, right? So they'd stand up and do the swiping with their hand. And the thing is, if you stand up and you start doing swiping, if you're gonna go down, you're gonna hit somebody in the head. So what they're doing is they're doing from their chest and going up like that, like they're and like I was watching that, I was just like baffled that nobody said anything. And I was like, all right, unique little thing that I witnessed. So as far as like people throwing up like 3 points, 3 points, I don't think like social culturally, I don't think anybody's gonna get offended. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I don't think it's gonna make the ESPN or the social justice warriors are gonna start going after this thing. So I don't know.
I never put that connection together, but you're bringing it full
I
circle.
yeah, man. Algorithms on YouTube and Instagram, they've been hitting me hard
Oh,
lately,
dude, I
man.
know, man. I was literally just like, I would do that all the time. I'll be scrolling on Facebook, which I don't even like doing anyway. And then
Mhm.
I'll see like a comment or a post, and it's just like, I want to respond to it and start the argument and everything, but I know
Yep.
it's just Facebook trying to show me the person and the exact material that I'm going to engage with and be like, you know what? This is what
Yep.
I think. And that's how I know I'm getting mature. That's how I know I'm growing up, is because
Yep.
I will
Yep.
see it and you'd be like, you know what? My opinion isn't needed. My opinion is not needed here. I'm just gonna scroll
Yep.
on and go about my day. But yeah, I definitely know about the algos. But man, I
Yep.
don't want to waste too much of your time. I appreciate you coming back on. Do you have any
Mhm.
final words for any up and coming wrestlers in the North Florida and Florida area just in general? Going in and trying to
Mhm.
be a as high caliber
Mhm.
wrestler as you.
Sure. Take wrestling seriously. Make sure you're eating right. I mean, right now you have all these resources. You have YouTube, for example. Like eat. Make sure you get plenty of sleep. Sleep is very important. Exercise. Do something extra because you understand. you can wrestle, like everybody wrestles, like for like 2 hours, but then you got to do something extra on top of that, because that's what makes people stand out. So it's not just the wrestling. And then yeah, and keep watching videos. I mean, YouTube some stuff. Have fun. I mean, make sure you keep on having fun, because once the wrestling is gonna start feeling like a job, and then it becomes boring. You don't want to do it anymore. So stay hungry, stay motivated, and keep having fun.
All right, beautifully
That's
spoken.
all I got.
Beautifully spoken, man. Well, man, I appreciate you coming in, spending some time, and telling us a little bit about your story. Like you said, you're always one of my favorite wrestlers to watch back when I was competing. So it's nice reconnecting and getting you on the show.
Well, thanks for having me.
All right, big thanks for Ivan for coming on, spending a little bit of time with us, talking all about his storied career. And big thanks to you, North Florida wrestling fans, for sticking with us. Make sure you tune in to the next episode. Wrestle hard, stay safe, and clean up that diet. But until then, this is Jordan Patrick James signing off from the North Florida Wrestling Show. We will see you next time.